Hey everyone, very good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all who all are joining us globally. My name is Parthoru. I'm Events and Program Manager for Microsoft Reactor India. And yes, welcome you all to yet another episode of Copilot Chronicles. But before we start our today's event, let's go through our code of conduct. We are all here to participate together, learn together. So please be respectful of other people's views, understanding their differences. Be kind and considerate in a way we all engage. Yes, we do encourage you all to ask questions. Please drop all your questions in the comment section. And now, I'd like to bring in the host of our today's event. That's Kamal Shri, who is a developer advocate from Microsoft 365.
Hey
Hey, hi
Pa,
Kamal, how are you doing?
all good, all good. Busy year starting, lots of plans, lots of events lined up, lots of web series lined up. So pretty excited to start this fiscal year.
Oh, sounds great. And yes, uh, let's go ahead with today's session.
Yes. So yeah, today's session again, we received an overwhelming response from our previous speakers like Nanddeep, Smita, who are more than 5 times Microsoft MVPs. And
Wow,
since, as I
nice.
told you, Copilot Chronicles, the main focus of it is on the M365 Copilot. So today they're again going to talk about the Copilot stack because we got a request asking, can we have someone talk about the Copilot stack, the architecture, how do we develop Copilot for M365? What are the different ways using Teams Toolkit? And finally, how to be a part of the community. So Nandeep and Smita being a part of this community for more than 5+ years officially and more than that unofficially. So definitely, I think it would be better to have more insight from these experienced community builders. So without further ado, I will welcome Nandeep and Smita to take the stage and talk about the Microsoft 365 Copilot architecture and ways to extend it with Copilot.
Yep.
Welcome,
The floor
Nandeep.
is all yours. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, Parthoru, for this introduction, and thank you for giving us another opportunity to present our session here. Okay, so
Always a
I
pleasure,
know that,
Nandeep.
yeah, same here. So I know that many of you have been working with Microsoft 365, its apps, services for a while now, and I know that you must be exploring Copilot capabilities as well, and you are finding it very helpful. Today, that we are diving into one of the most transformative kind of an aspect of Microsoft 365 ecosystem, which is the integration of AI-powered assistants into everyday workflows through Copilot. Okay, so there are various ways in which you can build Copilot. And again, we are just going to show you one of that using Teams Toolkit. Okay, so building Copilot for Microsoft 365 with Teams Toolkit is kind of a powerful way to bring AI-driven assistance into your organization's daily workflows, your daily routine, and then by leveraging these Teams Toolkit, developers can create customized kind of solutions that can enhance the productivity, even improve the decision making, and even from there you will be able to automate the routine task all within the familiar environment of your Microsoft Teams. Okay, so this approach not only empowers your users or engage them, but also drives the innovation and makes it easier for your team to achieve their goals very efficiently, so that they don't need to look out for the information at various places. They can be just at Teams, and Copilot is there to help them. All right, so, what we are going to discuss in this session is we will explore the practical scenarios where Copilot can be a game changer, along with a step-by-step kind of a guidance on how to use this Teams toolkit to bring your Copilot to your vision of life. Okay, and then we do have another sample which has been right now accepted into Microsoft Teams repository, which is called as the sample, the Microsoft Teams community sample. There we have just contributed the classified listings copilot. So we will be talking more about that. All right. So that is kind of an exciting thing that we are going to talk about in this session. So let's get started. Myself, Nanddeep Nachan. I am Microsoft MVP for Microsoft 365 as well as AI platform. I'm from Pune, India, author of these three books that you can see on the screen, including SharePoint Framework, SharePoint Hybrid, and Viva Connections. And on to the right hand side, here are my social media handles through which you will be able to get in touch with me. Okay, and with me today is Smita.
Hello, all. Myself Smita Nachan. Greetings from Pune, India. I'm having total 16 plus years of experience in M365 technology. I'm a Microsoft MVP. I'm author of these two books, and these are some of my social handlers by which you can get in touch with me.
Welcome, Smita.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, so let's get started. This is the agenda that we are going to discuss today. We will see Copilot for Microsoft 365 and how it is architectured. We will also see how we can extend the Microsoft Copilot for Microsoft 365, as well as how we can make those plugins work better with Copilot. And obviously, there we are going to use Teams Toolkit for Visual Studio Code to develop those kind of plugins. And definitely, that should trigger a few ideas for you. So even you can contribute your ideas to the community for the betterment of everyone, and then you will be able to create those Copilot. And then this is the classified listing Copilot, which we are going to demonstrate you. I will keep that secret for a while, what that does, but this is what we are going to do. All right. Okay. So with that, let's get started with the basic introduction to Microsoft 365 Copilot. All right. Not yet.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Yeah, sorry for that. Yeah. So this Microsoft 365 Copilot is your Copilot for work. So it's sophisticated processing and orchestration engine that provides the AI powered productivity capabilities. So at a fundamental level, Copilot has a few core components. LLM, that is a large language models. So the Copilot is more than OpenAI's ChatGPT embedded into the Microsoft 365. It is a sophisticated processing and orchestration engine working behind the scenes to combine the power of LLMs, including GPT-4, with Microsoft 365 apps and your business data in Microsoft Graph that is now accessible to everyone through natural language. So, content in Microsoft Graph, such as email, chats, and documents that you have permissions to access, the Microsoft 365 apps that you use every day, such as a Word, PowerPoint, and Microsoft apps, Excel, Outlook, Teams, Loop, and many more, operate with Copilot to support the users in the context of their work. So the Copilot combines the power of large language models with data, so your data in Microsoft Graph and the knowledge of internet, not just at a point in time when the large language models was trained, but a real time up to knowledge. So it can be accessed through the natural language across the all your Microsoft 365 apps to turn your words into the most powerful productivity tool on the planet. Yep. So let's go ahead and now let's see this Copilot, Microsoft 365 Copilot architecture. Okay. So the image illustrates the architecture of Microsoft Copilot for Microsoft 365, which is highlighting how it interacts with the user data and the services to deliver the AI powered assistance. So here is some of the breakdown of the key components and the processes. So let's first see this Microsoft 365 service boundary. So, user prompts, the process begins when a user inputs a prompt, let's say, for example, a request for information or action. The second one is a pre processing and the grounding. So, the prompt is sent to Copilot, which accesses the Microsoft Graph along with optional web plus other services for grounding, meaning it uses the available data to understand and define the request in context, that is the recent documents, emails, and many more things. So the third thing is the modified prompt to LLMs, large language models. So after grounding, the Copilot sends the modified prompt to large language models, and this LLM is a powerful AI model used to generate the response. So the fourth one is responsible AI. So the AI model then performs the responsible AI checks on the input prompt and output results to ensure the ethical consideration as well as the data security. The third one is the LLM response and the post processing. So the AI model generate a response which is sent back to the copilot, and the compliance and purview, when it's compliance comes to the compliance and the purview, the response is post process, during which it may be further redefined based on the compliance and purview settings, ensuring that the output aligns with the organization's policies. When it's come to the data flow and encryption, so the data flow within this architecture is secure, with all requests being encrypted via HTTPS, and the WebSocket secures protocols, ensuring the confidentiality and the integrity of the data. When it's come to the Microsoft Graph and the customer data, so the Microsoft Graph is the central to this architecture. So it contains the user context and the content, for example the email, files, meeting, chats, calendar, and the contacts, to store within the customer's Microsoft 65 tenant. Copilot accesses this data to provide the contextually relevant responses. Then there are the plugins and the external services. So the architect also supports the plugin and the services like a Bing, Dataverse, Power Platform services, which can be leveraged to enhance the Copilot capabilities. And for the Azure OpenAI, the LLM is powered by Azure OpenAI, but Microsoft maintains the instance, ensuring that the OpenAI has no access to the customer data or the model itself. And this is critical for maintaining the data privacy and the security. So this architecture outlines how Copilot for Microsoft 365 integrates the various data sources, applies the AI for understanding and generating the responses, and ensure secure and the compliant handling of the user data throughout the process. So now let's see how the prompt flows through. So the first thing is the user prompts are sent to the copilot. So what happens exactly when a user interacts with Microsoft 365 applications such as the Word, Excel, or the Teams, and the provides an input or the prompt, for example asking a question, requesting a summary, or seeking to automate a task. So this prompt is sent to the copilot. Then, when it's come to the purpose, so this is the initial step where the user request is captured and begins its journey to the Copilot architecture. So it forms the basic for all the subsequent processing and the response the generation. The second thing is the Copilot accesses Microsoft Graph plus web and other services for the grounding, that is optional also. So what exactly happens, the copilot then accesses the Microsoft Graph, which is the core API that connects the various data sources within the Microsoft 365, including the emails, files, calendar, events, chats, and other organizational data also. So this grounding refers to the process of using this data to understand the context of the user's prompt more deeply. So, for example, if the user asks for any of the summary of the recent emails, so the copilot will look into the relevant emails stored in Microsoft Graph. And for this optional web and other services, so depending on the prompt, so Copilot might also use the external services like Bing for web searches or other connector services, for example, the Power Platform services, to enrich the response with additional information. Then the Copilot sends this modified prompt to LLM, that is a large language model. So, what exactly happens over here when the user's prompt is grounded with relevant data? Copilot modifies the prompt if needed, okay, to make it more precise and context aware. Then, this modified prompt is then sent to LLMs. So the purpose behind is the LLM is an advanced AI model powered by Azure OpenAI, designed to understand and generate the human-like text based on the input it receives. So the model processes the prompt and prepare to generate a response. Then when it's come to this RAI, that is this. Responsible AI is performed on the input prompt and the output result. So, what exactly happens before the LLM generates the final response? The responsible AI checks and applied both on the input, that is the prompt sent to the LLMs, and the output, that is the response generated by the LLM. The main purpose behind this is the responsible AI ensures that the AI behavior aligns with ethical guidelines, security policies, and the organizational standards. It also checks for the biases, ensures the data privacy, and verifies that the output is appropriate for the given context. So, this step is very crucial for maintaining the trust and compliance within the system. Then let's check for this Microsoft receives this LLM response. So what exactly happens over here after the LLMs has processed the grounded and modified prompt and passes through the responsible AI checks, it generates the response, and this response is then sent back to the copilot. So the purpose behind it is the response generated by the LLMs is the result of all the processing that has taken place. So the copilot receives this response and prepares to deliver it back to the user or further refine it as needed. So the summary of the flow. So the process begins with the user inputting a prompt. Then the prompt is grounded using the data from the Microsoft Graph and possibly the other resources as required. A modified prompt is then sent to the LLM, which generates a response after passing the RAI checks. And then finally, the copilot receives the response and either represents it to the user or processes further. So this is the detailed flow about ensuring that every user interacts with Microsoft Copilot is contextually relevant, secure, and compliant with the organizational policies.
All right. So now that let us see, we have basic understanding of how the Microsoft Copilot and its architecture. But now that let's say, for example, if you want to go beyond that, you want to extend Microsoft Copilot, then what are the possibilities that we have got? So Copilot for Microsoft 365 help everyone to work better with the Microsoft programs like Word, Excel, and Outlook. And it is very much good at tasks like understanding, summarizing, predicting, or translating your content, and it uses the information from your organizational files, messages, conversations to do all of these tasks. But most business tasks, they don't only use the Microsoft 365. And with Copilot kind of an extensibility, you can also add extra abilities and knowledge that fits your business. Okay, so this makes it possible for Copilot to do even more amazing kind of a thing for your organization, and you can make Copilot better suited to your needs by turning your own apps into the tools that work with this AI kind of an functionalities. And also you can give Copilot more information from your company by connecting it to the data through something called as a Microsoft Graph Connector. So let's say, for example, when we have a look at this diagram, we do have x-axis and y-axis. So this x-axis is nothing but the knowledge that you have. So this exercise will help you to expand the organizational knowledge. So you can ground the Copilot in your organization content and data to create even deeper insights and connections. So we already have our data, which can be accessed using Microsoft Graph. We can also go ahead and do the internet search if in case it is enabled by your administrator. And then again, we do have power by which we can create our graph connectors. If in case you are not well aware of the graph connectors, we already had another or previous episode onto the graph connectors, so do watch that out. So there is a possibility that you can create your own graph connector by which you will be able to connect to the data which is available in the external systems and bring that data and index that data into Microsoft 365. So that way you are expanding the boundaries of your knowledge into your organization. Today that we are going to majorly focusing onto this y-axis. Okay, so we'll see like how we can bring in the skills, how we can extend the user skill by creating all those plugins. So we can connect Copilot to the applications you work with plugins to streamline your everyday task and activities. Okay, so we already have various Microsoft 365 apps that we have got for example, SharePoint, Teams, and everything. And on top of that, we can create plugins so that we will be able to extend that skill further and then make a way so that we can work with these AI capabilities. Okay, so simply this Microsoft 365 Copilot extensibility will enable you to expand your organization's AI powered productivity, capacity, and creativity. And at the same time, it helps you to preserve the trust as a Copilot operates within your organization's security and compliance boundaries. And then again, it also adheres to the Microsoft responsible AI standards. Okay, so let us see if we want to go this route of y-axis, what are the possibilities that we have got by which we'll be able to create those plugins. Okay, so these are the ways in which you will be able to create those plugins. So there are two ways of extending the Copilot for Microsoft 365. Either you can augment the Copilot skills through plugins and ground it with the organizational data through graph connectors.
So when it comes to the plugins, so the plugin extends. So when it's come to the plugins extends your user skills by interacting with your web service using a natural language in Microsoft Copilot. So with the plugins, you can access a real-time information such as finding the latest news coverage on a product launch, retrieve the recent data such as a reporting on a service ticket assigned to a given team member, perform actions across the app such as creating a new task in your organization work tracking system. So you can build plugins by building a Microsoft Teams message extensions or a Power Platform connector. So if you already have a message extension or a Power Platform connector, then you already have the foundation to create a plugin for a Copilot. So for the Microsoft Graph connectors, so it increases the discoverability and the engagement of your enterprise data by deeply integrating your data into the Copilot for Microsoft 365 experience. So with the graph connectors, you can make the most of your external data by letting a Copilot read and summarize the data from the various places. This helps you to understand the things better. You can use the Copilot as a research assistant. It can find the information, summarize it, and answer the questions using the data you choose. You can surface the intelligence of the Copilot in Microsoft Search and the other tools to improve how the users find what they need. So let's come to this diagram where we can see this semantic index. So the semantic index is a system that helps you to improve the way search function works with Microsoft 365. It's like a database that organizes the information in a smarter way, making it easier for the users to find what they are looking for. So this system understands the meaning behind the words and the phrases, so it can provide a more relative search results, and additionally it represents the security roles, ensuring that the users only see the content they are allowed to access. So the overall the semantic index enhances the search experience within Microsoft 365 by making it more efficient as well as the accurate.
All right, so that was one route. You can use Microsoft Graph Connector to bring the external data into your system. You can index that and make use of that into Copilot. Today, that we are going to look into the other aspect called as plugins. So with plugin, you're not bringing that external data into your system, but rather you are interacting with that data in real time. Okay, so that means you will not bring that data into your index, but you will go ahead, use the connector, connect to that data, and then you will be able to perform all of the CRUD operations, create, read, update, delete kind of an operations with that data. Okay, there is a limitation with Graph Connector that once you bring the data into the system, you won't be able to update that. To get the update again, you will have to query the external system and bring the newer data. But with plugin, it will be just simpler way by which you will be able to go ahead, connect to the systems, and get the data. All right, so let's see what are the available options by which you will be able to do that. So let's talk about those extensibility options for Microsoft Copilot for Microsoft 365. So you can customize Copilot for Microsoft 365 in different ways using external services, apps, and data. And if you want to create your own connector or plugins, you can choose the tools and softwares or SDKs which are best suited for your needs. So let's say, for example, if you are a Power Platform user, you want to connect your data, you can simply go ahead and create the Power Platform connectors. The second option that we had discussed in the previous session is like if you want to bring that data into your Microsoft 365 ecosystem, you can go ahead and create the graph connectors. And today that we are going to talk about messaging extensions, like how you will be able to build those Teams messaging extension, and then use that to go ahead and connect to the data which is externally. Okay, so this is the thing that we are going to talk. But before we directly go into the plugins and everything, we just want to make it very much simple to you, like how does that look like. Okay, so here we are talking about Microsoft Copilot and an app called as Suno.
So the generative AI is making a big changes in how we communicate and work with technology. So it's like giving a machines the ability to be creative and generate a new content like art, music, and even a conversation as well. So this technology help us to do the things we could not think before, like making a personalized content and collaborating with the machines in a new ways. So it's basically reshaping how we use the technology and how we connect with it. So Microsoft Copilot is a powerful example of generative AI. So we are not limited to text in and text out conversation only, but we are in the era of the conversational transactions. So with this in AI, we are now capable of processing the information from the including like images, videos, and text as well. Okay, so this multimodality means using a different ways to communicate, not just words. So it's included things like a picture, sounds, as well as the gesture. So it's like when you watch a video with music and the images instead of just reading a book. So this multimodal communication help the reach more people and make it easier for everyone to understand as well. So Microsoft have partnered with Suno, a leader in AI-based music creation, to bring their capabilities to Microsoft Copilot. So with Suno, you can turn your ideas into personalized songs regardless of your musical background as well.
All right, so let's see a simple example of how the plugins are, or what those plugins are, so that it will make a good ground for us to when we will go for creation of our own plugins. Okay, so right now I have logged into the copilot.microsoft.com, which is a free to use Copilot, and I have logged in with my personal account. Okay, so once you are here, probably you can go to the plugins, and from there you can see that we do have various plugins, and one of that plugin that we are going to see now is called as Suno. Okay, so what we can do is okay, I will have to create a new topic so that I can enable this Suno. Okay, so I just have created a new topic, and I have enabled Suno. What we can do is we can just give a prompt to sing me a song on probably dinosaurs. Okay, all right, and then let us see. So once you give that kind of a prompt to the Copilot, what thing you can see here is that right now it has started using Suno. Okay, so Suno is the plugin. So if you again have a look at the prompt that I have given, I'm just asking like sing me a song on dinosaur or anything else. So here there are certain keywords, for example singing a song, or maybe just sing or song, those kind of an keywords. And by using those keywords it can detect whether there are any plugins available inside of the list of plugins which are made available. Okay, so in this conversation I just have made Suno as one of the plugin available, and Copilot can go ahead and detect that okay, there is a plugin available which probably it can go ahead and use to create a song and then give that experience to our users. Okay, so let us go ahead listen to this song as well.
Stomp around the ground, dino shout so loud, sky turning golden now. Big tail swing side to side, roaring with their pride in a world so wide, wide.
All right, so probably I will not play the entire song, but this is kind of an capability that these plugins have got, so that while you are conversing with Copilot, we can make available certain plugins which Copilot can detect, and then from there it can go ahead invoke those plugins, and then those plugins can do these magics for us. Okay, so we are going to see how we can build those plugins. Okay, so for that there are multiple ways available, but today that we are going to see the things from the Teams Toolkit. So for example, if you are not aware of Teams Toolkit for Visual Studio Code, it is also available with Visual Studio as well. So Teams Toolkit is being maintained by Microsoft, and again, it gives you the flexibility to create applications inside Microsoft Teams. So it could be bot, it could be messaging extension, or even could be a tab and all those kind of things. So it gives you a simplified kind of an experience through which you will be able to do that. Okay, so if in case you are not well versed with Teams Toolkit, let me just show it to you quickly. So right now, let's say for example, I'm into Visual Studio Code. So once you are into the Visual Studio Code, you will be able to go ahead and add certain extensions. So on the Visual Studio Code, onto the left hand side, in the left bar, you can search for the extensions, and then you just have to search for Teams Toolkit. If in case you have not yet added, you should be able to go ahead and find the Teams Toolkit. So all of the documentation is just nicely maintained here, and then you can see that it will help us to go ahead and create multiple applications like tab, bot, messaging extensions, and everything. And if you recollect this slide which we were showing before, if you have got a messaging extension, that's it. Congratulations, you do have your Copilot ready. Okay, so this is the thing that we are going to use messaging extension as a Copilot. So once you have this Teams Toolkit, and once you install that, this is how the Teams Toolkit will look like. So let me just go to the Teams Toolkit. So there will be a Teams icon onto the left rail of your Visual Studio Code. And then from here, you should be able to go ahead and create your applications which are based on Teams Toolkit. So if in case you are wondering like how you can go ahead and create the applications on top of Teams, so whether it could be a bot, it could be a tab, it could be a messaging extension, then definitely you can go ahead and use this Teams Toolkit. So I will just show you simply like how you can create a plugin for uh, for Copilot, which can act as your Copilot. Okay, so you just need to click on create a new app. Once you create a new app, there is another option available called as Copilot extension, from where you will be able to create the declarative kind of an Copilot without writing a much complicated kind of an code. But simply that we are going to use the other option, which is called as an messaging extension. Okay, so with the messaging extension, with the messaging extensions, you will be able to create those kind of an extensions, and you will be able to use them into your code to create those plugins. Okay, so to start creating the plugins, what you need to do simply is that you need to select this option called as messaging extension. Okay, again there are multiple options of when it goes to the messaging extension. So here you can create a custom search results, link, unfur link. Even you can collect the form input and process the data. The one that will help you here is the custom search results. Okay, so that one will help you to go ahead and can be used as a plugin in Copilot. Again, here there are multiple options. You can choose the one that most helpful to you. But simply that we're going to use this option called as start with a bot that works in Teams, Outlook, and Copilot. Okay, so once you are here, you can select your programming language. It could be a JavaScript or TypeScript. So we'll go ahead with the TypeScript, and then you just need to browse to the folder where this solution can be placed, and then that's it. Your basic Copilot is entirely ready for you. Okay, so this is the thing by which you will be able to create those applications using Teams Toolkit. But let's see like the application that we have built. Okay, so this is the application that we have built, which is a messaging extension built-in plugin. So this is just the UI of how it looks like. So when I say like I want to find the bikes in the classified listing in certain city, it can go ahead and find that information from the system, and then it will present us into a nicer adaptive card kind of a way, which will be intuitive to the users so that they can be able to find the information very easily. And from here you can see that I'm right now still inside of Microsoft Teams. I did not went to the other application to find out the information, but while I'm into Microsoft Teams, I will be able to go ahead and use this Copilot so that it can find the information which is probably into the external systems and bring that data into the Teams, and then I will be able to interact with that. So even from here, you can see that in the other system, I will be able to add certain data as well as delete certain data. Okay, so that means we are playing with the live data without leaving the interface of Microsoft Teams. Okay, so here is an example of that writable data with messaging extension, and this plugin allow users to post those classified listing of the items that they want to sell, buy, or rent, and users can search listing which are posted by the others. So this is the capability this plugin has got, and we are going to show you the entire code of that. All right, so let's see the Copilot listing plugin. Let's get introduced to that. What is the scenario behind that, and then we will go for the demo as well as we will go for the coding part.
So here is an example we can use case for this build for this Copilot for a company's internal marketplace. So the employees use Microsoft Teams and the Copilot to post the items they want to sell or rent, like office furniture and the electronics. So the Copilot assistance by generating the post templates, suggesting the prices, and even automating the notification when the similar items are posted. So employees searching for the items can quickly find what they need through this search powered by the Copilot, which filters and sorts the listing based on their preferences. So by integrating this functionality into Microsoft 365, Copilot can transform the process of buying, selling, or renting items into seamless AI driven experience that leverages the full potential of Microsoft ecosystem. So now here is how this functionality work with Microsoft 365 leveraging the capabilities of Copilot. So the posting this classified listing, then the searching listing, managing the listing, integrating with Microsoft 365 apps, data and compliance, enhancing the user experience. Okay, so let's see the first is the posting this classified listing. So user interaction. So the users can create a classified listings for the items they want to sell, buy, or rent. This could be done through applications like a Microsoft Teams, SharePoint, or even with the Outlook. So the Copilot assistance, when a user wants to post a new listing, the Copilot can help by suggesting a template or guiding the user on what information to include. Let's say, for example, the item description, price, contact details, as well as the location. When it's come to the automation, the Copilot can automate the process by autofilling details based on the previous post, integrating the data from the Microsoft Graph, or pulling in relevant data for the connected services like a OneDrive or SharePoint. Second one, as I mentioned, the searching the listing. So when it's come to the user interactions, user is looking to buy, rent, or search for the items, can input their search queries in a conversational manners. Let's say, for example, show me all available apartments in New York. So what the Copilot assistants will do? So the Copilot can refine the search results by understanding the user preferences and the context. So for example, the filtering the result by the location, price range, or the item category. It can also offer advanced search capabilities like a filtering by recent listings, sorting by price, or even setting up the alerts for the new post matching the user's criteria. When it's come to the managing the listings and the user interactions, the user can manage their existing listing, making the edits, updating the prices, or making items as sold or rented. With the Copilot assistance, the Copilot can provide the reminders to update the listing, suggest the optimal pricing based on the market trends, and even offer the insights into how many users have viewed a listing or expressed the interest. Okay, when it's come to the integrating with Microsoft 365 apps, so when it's come to the Microsoft Teams, the user can post the listing directly within a team channel, making it easy to share within the groups or the organizations. So the teams can be used for live discussions about the items or scheduling the viewings. A SharePoint site can be set up as a central hub for all the classified listing, with the Copilot helping to organize and categorize the items for easy navigation. And for the Outlook, so the Outlook, the Copilot can assist the users by sending the alerts or the notification for new listing matching their interest directly to their email where the Outlook plays the roles. When it's come to the security and compliance for the data privacy, since the Copilot operates within the secure Microsoft 365 environment and all users' data, including the listing as well as the transactions, is protected under Microsoft's compliance and security frameworks. And the Copilot can be configured to flag the inappropriate content or manage the listing approvals to ensure that all postings adhere to organization policies only. So when it's come to the enhancing the user experience, so the personalizations, so the Copilot can learn the user preferences over the time, making the future interactions smoother and more personalized. And the AI powered recommendations, so the Copilot can suggest the similar items, all the alternatives if the desired items is not available, enhancing the overall user experience as well.
All right, so these are all of the functionalities that can be baked in into the Copilot. But now that, for example, if you want to create a Copilot like that, what are the prerequisites? So first prerequisite is you need at least Node version 18 point something. You will need Visual Studio Code as well as the extension there called as Teams Toolkit. I just have shown you how to install that Teams Toolkit as well. You will obviously need the Microsoft 365 license as well as Microsoft Copilot for Microsoft 365 license as well. In this particular solution, we are going to store this data into the Azure portal because we just wanted to store that somewhere outside of the Microsoft 365 boundary so that we'll be able to create this entire use case that even outside of the Microsoft 365 boundary, we can connect to the data and bring that into our system. Okay, so for that reason, we are using Microsoft Azure Blob Storage. But again, optionally, there you can use SharePoint list as well. Okay, and then if you want to see that data which is stored inside of the Azure portal, you need to use this Azure Storage Explorer, which is optional just to view or edit the data. All right, so just look at the data. I know that it can be optimized, but we are using only three tables here called as, okay, let's go ahead with listing city. So obviously listing city, that means where this particular item is being sold or sale or buy. So in that case, we will just store that name of the city in this particular table. Then we do have another table called as listing type. So like what type of listing that we want to do. So let's say, for example, if we want to buy, rent, or sell the items, that we can do. And again, this is the master kind of a table where we store all of the listings. So here, the user who is posting that listing, they can give some good title, description, price, the ID of the city, which is kind of an foreign key here, again type ID, and name of the owner as well as the ID of the owner who is posting that listing. One thing here is like whenever we are making our data available to Copilot, it should be very clear, crisp, concise. So that's the reason whenever you are posting something, you need to have good title and description that can be easily analyzed by Copilot, and then it can use that to go ahead and show that listing to your users. Okay, because whenever we are interacting with Copilot, obviously the data has to be in a very simple format that Copilot can understand. Okay, so with that, let's get into the demo and see how this classified listing Copilot works. Okay, so for that, I will again switch back to my machine, and from here we will be able to see. So right now, this solution has been developed with Visual Studio Code using Teams Toolkit. I have not yet deployed this into Microsoft Azure portal, but because I just wanted to also show you how the debugging works and everything. Okay, so for the first run, what I will do is I will disable all of the breakpoints, and let us go ahead and start start running this into the Microsoft Teams. Okay, so here we do have various things like we just have seen how we can go ahead. Oh, sorry, how we can go ahead and create this kind of a solution. Second thing, once we have the solution ready, there are certain aspects of the solution that we need to take care of. So there is something called as a manifest file, even that you can see onto the screen, and this manifest file plays important role for a Copilot to find out the information, even for the Copilot to find the plugins, and then for these plugins to go ahead and find the relevant information. So as this is running still, let me just go ahead and make you walk through this manifest file. So this is the solution structure that we get for this solution. So here we do have src folder, which is our source folder. Then we do have certain environment files, and at the top we do have this manifest JSON. Okay, so this manifest JSON, when you will package your solution and deploy it to Microsoft Teams, this solution will be deployed as a Teams package into your Microsoft Teams Admin Center. Okay, so this is how it works. So now that, let's say for example, when you will deploy it onto Microsoft Teams, how the Copilot is going to invoke your Copilot. Okay, because here we do have got Microsoft 365 Copilot, which is running into this Microsoft Teams, and then again there are other Copilots that you can make available from here. So from, for example, you can see the Copilot listing here. Okay, looks like I did not. Oh yeah, it is still running. Okay, so let's wait until it's running. But meanwhile, I can still go through all of the code part. So while it is still running, let me just walk you through this process, like how Copilot is able to get to your plugin and invoke that plugin. Because we just have seen that when we were asking for a song onto any of the criteria, it was able to go ahead and invoke the Suno plugin. Similarly, for example, if you want your plugin should be picked up by Copilot, how you can do that. So that is where this file plays an important role. Okay, our Copilot is ready, but let it be there for some time. So for this purpose, this manifest file is very much important. So in this manifest file, for example, if you see, the important part here is the ID. Okay, so this ID as well as the description. So this ID and description as well as the title should be easily recognized by the Copilot. So here I'm saying the title as classified listing. So whenever in my um, whenever in my query I will have something called as a classified listing, or I'm looking out for buy, rent, and all those kind of thing, definitely it knows that there is a plugin which is available by made available by me, and then it can go ahead and use that plugin uh, to invoke, and then from there it will be able to give out the information. Okay, so this is the simple thing that we have got. Okay, now that, let's say, like for example, if you want to go ahead and use this, how to do that. So firstly, let me just click on add, so that this particular plugin will be available to us. But again, in a nutshell, this plugin is nothing but just the messaging extension. Okay, so for that reason, let's say for example, if I simply go to any of the conversation that I have got. Okay, so I will go to this conversation, and if I just click on this plus icon, so that we should be able to go ahead and see all of the plugins. So here we should have that plugin called as a classified listing. Okay, so this is one of the plugin that we have got, which is running right now. And let's say for example, if I search for anything, so I know that there are few bikes for renting or selling. So I can just search for bike, and here you can see that this information is available here. Like there are a couple of bikes available onto sale. So from here, what I can do is I can just click, and this one will draft an adaptive card for us. So adaptive card is nothing but just the JSON representation of the platform agnostic format, and it can be used anywhere in Microsoft Teams, in Outlook, or anywhere else. So this one will just create that adaptive card, and I can just click on send, and this adaptive card will be sent. Okay, so this is the normal behavior that we have got when it comes to the messaging extension, and this same functionality can be used into Copilot as well. Okay, so this is a simple functionality of messaging extension. But now that when it comes to Copilot, first thing that we need to do is we need to make aware of that Copilot for our plugin that we have done. Okay, so for that, if you observe at the bottom of the compose message, we do have something called as plugins, and here you can see that all of the plugins which are available are here. And probably this is the previous instance that I have got running. So let me just also enable this Copilot listing. As soon as I do that, you can see that we have Copilot listing is on now. So what is mean by that is all of the queries that I will be making to the Copilot, it should be also able to get that information from my plugin. Okay, so let's say for example, if I say like find bikes in classified listing, hopefully, just finger cross, it should be able to get to my plugin, and we should be able to see all of the bikes which are available for rent or sale, and Okay, probably it wasn't with me right now, but let me just show you how that one works. For example, it could have worked very correctly. So in this case, it will show the result something like this. Like these are the bikes available for classified listing, and then here it gives something called as a citation. So you can click on the citation, you will get all of the information, the same kind of an adaptive card that we have seen into the messaging extension as well. And from here, since this particular message has been posted by me, I do get option to delete this one as well, or even I can go there and click add new listing. Okay, so from the add new listing, I will be able to post another listing, for example, title, description, price, and everything, and then I can just simply post that listing so that it will be available for the other or subsequent kind of an searches. Um, this is kind of an prompt that we are simply talking about, very simple or basic kind of an prompt where we are finding the basic information like find bike in classified listing. Okay, so there is nothing fancy. We are simply concentrating on all of the bikes that we want to see, which are available for sale or purchase or rent. It could be anything in the classified listing, but again we can have some kind of an advanced prompt there as well. So in the advanced prompt, let me just go there. So here you can see that I'm combining multiple kind of an entities together so that we can form this um, form this kind of an advanced prompt. Okay, so in this case here you can see that I'm just trying to find the bikes in the classified listing in Mumbai city. In that case, it can go ahead, it can detect that, okay, I'm talking about Mumbai as a city, and it can just give me the bike which is only available in the Mumbai, okay? Because if you have seen that when we search for bike, there were two results. One was in London, I guess, and then the second one was in Mumbai. And now that I'm going for the classified listing search, which is a specific with the advanced prompt, and I'm very much specific that I want to go ahead and I want to search for bikes which are only available in Mumbai, and I can do that. Even for example, you can go ahead with more advanced scenarios as well. Let's say for example, find bikes in classified listing in Mumbai for sale under some price, and then it can also get to that price quotation, and it will help you refine your results just on those parts. Okay, so this is the basic working of this copilot, but very effective. All of the data right now reside is in under the Microsoft blob storage, Azure blob storage, but I can still using this copilot right within the Microsoft Teams. We are able to communicate with that and bring that data into our system, and it is a live data so that we can see it as it is there. Also we can take the actions of adding new listing, deleting, or and all those kind of thing. Okay, so with that, let's get into the code and try to analyze how this code has been built. So as I said, this manifest file is the very major thing. So when it comes to Copilot, and when you have your own plugins, to make your plugin searchable for the Copilot, you need to define that title and description by which the Copilot, Microsoft 365 Copilot, should be able to go ahead and locate your plugin. Okay, so this is where we are giving that title and description very descriptive to the Copilot, so that whenever there is a query regarding the classified listing, it can go ahead and invoke my plugin. When there is a invocation, again user can pass on the information, because when we interact with Copilot, we don't need we need not necessarily need to have any kind of a specific language in which we talk to the Copilot. We can just use the natural language. Okay, so it is called as NLP, natural language processing. So I can simply use English statements like find me bikes in Mumbai, find me bikes in Mumbai under 2 lakhs, all those kind of a thing. So all that information is available through something called as an parameters. Okay, so first thing is that I'm interested to know what is the item name. So item name here is bike, because this is the item that I want to search for. Second thing is location. So this is again another parameter that I'm passing through. So location, from here it can detect that the location could be city, or it could be any of the territory, or all those kind of things. So it can detect that location could be Mumbai here, and it can pick up that parameter. Second thing is type. What is the type of listing? So that means I'm looking out for a sale or a buy or renting kind of thing. So here we have got that type. Again, similarly price. So when I say like I'm looking out for a bike under 2 lakhs. So in that case, you can see that 2 lakhs is going into this price information. Okay, and then from there, it is able to get me into the system. So now that this particular manifest will help us to get the data into as well as analyze that data into various parameters, but how we can process that. So again, let me just go back to the Explorer. So this is the place or starting point for our Copilot. When the query will come through, it will analyze like what is the command ID for that. And this command ID is again matching with the ID of this compose extension. And here we do have that ID called as classified listing search. So this ID should be here. And then once it is for the classified listing, so that means in one solution, you may have multiple kind of an copilots or copilot plugins created for you. So from here, what we are doing is we are just simply making a call to the another search command. So this is a search command because we know that we created the search extension here using the messaging extension specifically for search. So this is the extension that we will get. And here we are just checking whether the query which is coming to us, if it is a simple query, basic prompt, or it is an advanced prompt. So if it is a basic prompt, that means we can get either of item name, type, location, or price. And if it is an advanced prompt, we are going to get everything from that. Okay, so let's say for example user have specified the name, item name, type, location, or price. It could be anything, so we get that information. And then once we get that information, we do have certain um, certain data here, or maybe the file here, which help us to go to the system and find out all of the information. So let's say for example if I go here, we do have all of the methods here which help us to search from those classified items which are into my um, Azure blob storage or Azure table storage. And again, we can also load all of the reference data, for example, the data which is available into the selling table or as well as into the location table. So it can help us get all the information from that Azure table storage using this table client. Okay, so it will help us do all of the technical part of getting the information out of the Azure table storage into your system. If in case you want to extend this Copilot for your SharePoint purpose, only thing is that you need to come to this file and you will have to make a change to this logic. Instead of taking the data from Azure table storage, you can make it to take that information from SharePoint or any of the other storage that you have got. Okay, so once we get that information, we just try to see like what was the criteria that was being given by the user, and we simply give that information back to our users. And while we give that information back to the users, we have something called as a card handler. So this one will create a card for you. So when we invoke that, we saw that there is an adaptive card which is coming through, and this is the place from where that adaptive card get composed. So we do have this adaptive card called as success card, which one will be placed when there will be matching items found into the classified listing, and those items can be found out here. So all of the order information as well as the symbol, what you see here, it is nothing but coming from the adaptive card. Okay, so this particular class is responsible for creation of that adaptive card. So again, in the adaptive card, we do have templates, we do have data. So it will combine those two together, and then it will create that adaptive card, and then simply it will send that adaptive card to the user so that the user can interact with the team, interact with that data which is into the adaptive card. So again, for there, for example, if the user clicks onto the add new listing, in that case it can again go back to the card handler, and then it can push the another card here called as edit card, and then from there they will be able to add the information into the system by adding new classified listing. All right, and again, for example, if they just click on delete, in that case we are handling that event, and from there we are allowing the users to delete their data as well. Okay, so this was the very simple information like how you will be able to create those copilot. So the simple thing here is like make your plugins um, available or readable or easily identifiable to the copilot, so that copilot can pick your plugin and use them. Define what are the parameters that you will need expecting from your users when they will interact with your plugin. So it could be just the basic prompt or it could be advanced prompt. Once you get all the information, process that into your code and connect to the external data that you have got or external systems that you have got, and from there do all of the CRUD kind of an operations: create, read, update, delete, and then you will be able to use or maybe show that information to your users in the form of this adaptive card. Okay, so this is very much simple thing. We are right now just inside the Teams, but again, just from this Teams window, using this Copilot, we will be able to connect to external systems so that we don't need to leave the interface of Teams, find out the information, but right within the team itself, I can just start writing the natural language kind of inquiries, and I should be able to get the information. Okay, so that was pretty much simple thing. We just wanted to show it to you in this session. Hopefully, you like that classified listing Copilot. But quickly, let me just show you from where you should be able to see those as well. So let's say, for example, let me just bring the uh, okay, so for example, if you are interested in more of such samples, so you can simply go to the github.com/pnp/teams dev samples, and here you should be able to see more of those samples created. And for example, if you are interested in contributing the samples, you can go ahead and contribute to this repository. So this repository has got various valuable samples for apps in Microsoft Teams, even including Copilot. So do spend some time to explore all of these apps, right? All right. So with that, just quickly wanted to close our session by giving you some resources. So if in case you want to extend Microsoft 365 Copilot, do read out those learn.microsoft.com articles. And again, for example, if you want to build a messaging extension for Microsoft Teams and Copilot, here is another good blog available onto the devblogs.microsoft.com. And for example, if you are interested to see the implementation part of how we have built this classified listing Copilot, there is a blog available on my website. Please go ahead and read it out. If you are um, if you want to explore those code sample as well, the code that we have just demonstrated you is available onto the GitHub. The GitHub which is maintained by Microsoft, the Teams dev samples, and then again do go and find out more community samples. There are various interesting samples that you will like, and even you will start contributing. And with that, thank you very much for having us, and back to you, uh, Parth, and
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thanks, Nandi. Thanks, Mata. That was again another awesome, refreshing, rewinding session, which I always enjoy with those clear, simple steps, Nandi and Smita, you kind of demonstrate.
thank you.
That was a good example with the classified listing. So I'm sure definitely a lot of audience, it would be like a learning lesson for them to build something with this. Either it could be a message extension or a plugin for a Copilot. Now, I mean, as a general audience, if I have to think about as a plugin, what are the, I know you've kind of informed, you have to use parameters, you'll have to use a proper prompt and all that. But as a general audience, what would you suggest the do's and don'ts while developing a plugin in general?
Right, right. So, for example, whenever you are developing a plugin, be very much clear on what you want to do, because
Mhm,
the cleaner that you will have this file called as manifest.json,
mhm,
there is a good possibility that the Copilot will pick your plugin, and then it will be used. Okay, so let's say, for example, if your description and title is very ambiguous, probably you have a lesser chances that the Copilot will pick up your plugin and it will be able to execute. Another
mhm,
thing is like whenever you are developing this kind of a plugin, try to use adaptive cards so that you will be able to give that intuitive kind of an experience to your users. And again,
mhm,
this one has got two-folded kind of an benefit, because if in case you want to use it as a messaging extension, you can use that, as well as if in case you want to use it as a adaptive sorry, the Copilot plugin, even in that case you can use it. But the only advice that I will give is have the cleaner and easily readable kind of an file, this manifest JSON, and then from there Copilot can pick up your plugin. Well, because even while I was developing this particular solution,
mhm.
right now I can see that it was able to pick up my plugin. But when I was developing this solution, probably you will not believe, but I mostly spent around 2 hours just begging the Copilot to pick up my plugin. And at the end, I found out like I did not have the clear kind of an title or the description, and that was probably the reason why Copilot was not able to pick up my plugin. Okay, because when the user will start using your plugins, um, when they will go to the Copilot, they have various kind of an plugins that they can go ahead and enable. So if in case you have very good description title, then there are chances that the your plugin will be picked up by the Copilot. Okay, so that's the reason. Go ahead and fill out all the information like description, title, as well as the semantic description, because Copilot looks into that, have a cleaner kind of an implementation or documentation of this file. So I will say the amount of time you are spending on writing good code for your Copilot, spend the same amount of good time when you will compose this file. Okay, because this is very important file, unless you do not write it clear, your plugin will not be picked up by the Copilot.
Definitely. I think you kind of saved several hours of people with the title and classified.
Right,
So
right.
definitely, I think that is a point to be noted. Writing a very crisp, clear, detailed title and description will make things
Correct.
in general sorted out.
Right.
My other question is, because okay, we come up with prompts, we get the results, very beautified, adaptive card, all that is fine. But how does the layer of security plays here? Now, how do I ensure that certain files are not being accessed? Because Copilot is very generic. The moment I say, okay, can I get more details on this particular bike, which I'm not supposed to do? Is there some kind of labeling that you follow, or is there some kind of protocol rule that you follow, or do you want to shed some light on that?
Correct, correct. So obviously means at least when we are using out of the box Copilot, it does uses all of the security and compliance boundaries which are set by the users, and all of the data that gets grounded from Microsoft Graph. It is already secured and trimmed so that you will see the content which you have got access to. But obviously, when we are creating our own Copilot or our own plugins, in that case, it is our responsibility to make sure that the data that you have got access to in that system only available to you. So in this kind of an cases, let's say for example, for this particular case, if I'm building this Copilot in, let's say, in SharePoint, so in that case, what I can do is I can just have the item level permissions onto those classified listing, so that only the items which are available to me are, or the items where I have got permission will be seen to me. Or let's say for example, if I'm using Azure table storage, in that case I can have the row level kind of an permission set, so that for a specific user only those rows will be accessed when that particular user will give a query to the Copilot. So in this case, probably we should not blame Copilot when we are creating our own plugins, because it is our responsibility as a developer that since we are developing a plugin on top of Microsoft 365 Copilot, we should go ahead and take that action on our behalf, and
Mhm.
do that security and compliance kind of a boundary. So
Mhm.
because right now, for example, if you see, I do not have anything because this is not confidential data. But as soon as, for example, if you think that not all of the items should be accessible by everyone, in that case, it is your responsibility as a developer that you should go ahead and create that security layer. So either you can do it at your coding level, but I will say instead of doing it at the coding level, do it at the data level itself. So for example, if you are using SharePoint list, make sure that you create that ACL access control list by which only users who have got permissions to see those items will be able to see it. Or even it could be any of the external system. Go ahead and implement that into that system itself, so that even though it's Copilot or any of the search, um, it is getting your data, it will be automatically security trimmed.
Totally agree. Definitely, security has to be considered at all layers, so that we don't misuse or we
Correct.
don't steal confidential data. So even though if you're trying out even a simple app plugin, make sure that always security is in mind while developing these kind of plugins.
True.
I think we are done. I think one of the audience was like they kind of unfortunately they were late. So I think it is all your work vision. No worries. This this web stream is kind of getting recorded on the YouTube channel. So we would have the link to the YouTube channel. You can definitely rewatch it. We will leave the comment for you. You can just watch the YouTube session. So Nandip, Smita, thank you so much for the awesome session again. Looking forward for a few more sessions going forward. I wish you could maybe, just a suggestion, maybe come up with more different types of prompt, because what I feel is if I enter a prompt, I get a different answer. The same prompt
Mm.
entered by the different natural language processing NPL, you get a different response. So maybe we come up with a session playing with different lines of prompt and seeing the variation in the output and what kind of prompt to select, or something a little more deep dive into it. That would be a great a web series again. Any other suggestions, audience, let us know. We will come up with those series. So thank you so much, Smita. Thank you,
Yeah,
Nandip. It was great
Yeah,
having
sure,
you
thank
on.
you.
definitely. Right. Thank you very much for the opportunity, and thank you, audience, for your wonderful comments, and thank you for being patient with us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Have
thank
a
you
great.
for the suggestion also,
Yeah,
Kamal. Yeah, thank you so much.
thank
Thanks,
you.
Smita.
And it's always pleasure to present our sessions at Reactor.
Pleasure is
Thank
ours,
you.
Nandip, to have you on this Copilot Chronicle. Looking forward for more events.
Sure, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.